Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of my QR Code Showcase special series. So, today is Friday. We're going to end off with a really positive, cool team. We're going to be using Shoma Honami's Geico Gaming Invitational winning team, which is being kindly put up by another Japanese player under the name San. And the team, for you guys that don't know about it, is Drifblim, Tapu, Lele, Garchomp, Gyarados, Pheromosa and Magnezone, with some really cool item choices here. Amazing move sets as well, and just a really interesting team concept. So we'll take this into today's episode. I'll put the link for this team in the description below, so if you guys want to try it out, and I'll also link in the Geico Invitational as well to the Twitch channel for the replays of that, because if you guys haven't seen that, you should definitely go and check it out. It's an amazing tournament that was put on and organised by a very high group of the elite kind of players of the community, and they put a lot of work into it. So it's definitely worth going to check out and support as well for the community, because it was just an amazing tournament and it showcases a lot of VGC talent. So, as I say, we're going to be using Shoma's team today. He won the entire event, and we will take this and see how we get on with it today. I don't think it's the easiest team to kind of play, but hopefully we kind of get to grips with it. We've got obviously the Drifblim, which is super interesting, with the Psychic Seed to take advantage of Tapu Lele's Psychic Terrain. Tapu Lele, a very interesting build with the choice spec, so we'll be hitting very hard there. We've got a Garchomp just for kind of that ground coverage, electric immunity as well, with Swords Dance as an interesting tech on there. Pheromosa is the Ultra Beast of choice, something very interesting that I still am yet to test out this season, so it'll be really good to kind of get that into battle here today. The Magnezone, again, we've seen that at the recent, we've seen that Gavin Michaels really take Magnezone and bring it into the spotlight, as well as Albert Dos and Alex Gomez. He, at the recent Sheffield Regionals, piloted a really cool Tapu Bulu Magnezone team. So again, something I haven't tried this season, but very interested to see how that plays out. And then we've got the Gyarados for the Intimidate support, with Dragon Dance, Earthquake, Waterfall and Protect, and holding the Citrus Berry. So another interesting build there. So guys, what we'll do is flip straight over to my DS screen, where we have the team as you have seen on the QR code website on the global link. So we'll just jump into this straight away, lock in with our team, and hopefully find some good opponents. So yeah, the Pheromosa, it's weird because it's so offensive, and it's one of those Pokemon that I haven't really, you always want to kind of try that type of Pokemon, because it's just such a hyper-offensive threat, and it speeds that is crazy. So it outspeeds like nearly everything in the metagame, has the potential to outspeed everything in the metagame, and it hits so hard as well with those stab fighting type attacks. Really, it's something that I should have tried, and I just haven't really got round to. I keep kind of overlooking it, and I don't know. It's something I definitely will have a look at in future, but I always tend to stay away from these really kind of glass cannon-y sort of Pokemon. But eventually get around to testing them, and here we are today. So we get a chance to test an extremely good team, and hopefully we don't put it to shame. So just looking for an opponent now. Hopefully it won't take too long to pull up our first opponent of the day, and we'll try and get a couple of matches, see how we get on. We may get 3 in today to kind of kick off the weekend for you guys. So it is just taking a little bit of time. But also, guys, while this episode is kind of going on, you should definitely go over and check out it's the Melbourne International this weekend over in Australia, so there'll be a lot of players going over to that. I've got a lot of friends going over there, so I wish them all the best, and I hope everyone has a great time and gets on really successfully in the tournament. There is a stream, so if I can find the link to the stream, I'm recording this episode before the stream goes live, so if I can find the link, I will put it in the description below, so you guys can kind of go and and check that out and support the stream there. So we have our first opponent of the day, and he is running a team of Alolan Muck, Garchomp, Tapu Koko, Gyarados, Alolan Marowak, and Whimsicott. So how are we going to set up against this team? Pheromone, so we have to be careful for the Alola Marowak because I don't expect we've got too many options and ways to hit that with the Pheromosa if we lead the Pheromosa. The other thing is the Pheromosa, it's only going to be a good lead really if my opponent leads with that Garchomp, which I can't imagine him leading with. Let's think, what are we going to do here? I definitely want to bring the... Do I want to bring the Magnezone, to be honest? So I think I'm going to have to kind of go down the route of... I'm going to lead Drifblim, Tapu, Lele here. Because at least if we lead Tapu Lele, we should be able to override the electric terrain if my opponent leads with that Muck. I would imagine my opponent actually probably leading with the Muck. So I am going to bring my Garchomp. And, what should I bring in the last slot? That'd be good to switch up. Don't know if I want to bring the Gyarados here. Do I need the Gyarados? The Gyarados might be nice. But I'm going to go with the Pheromosa in the last slot there. So we'll see how we get on. The reason for me not wanting to really bring the Gyarados is it's kind of doubling up on the electric weakness in the team, and we haven't got, like, we can't really rely too heavily on the Garchomp to just be the only thing that we've got to switch in. You know, if we have both Drifblim and Gyarados out on the field at the same time and we are threatened by an electric type attack, we've got to make our minds up. And I don't know if Drifblim carries Protect, so it kind of forces us into situations here. But we see my opponent lead off with the Muck, as expected, and the Alolan Marowak. So, right, we will get a Psychic Seed, which boosts our special defense. And let's see. So I can go for a Will-O-Wisp straight into that Muck slot, and I think I'm going to go for that, and I am just going to go for a Psychic into the Marowak. Because with the specs, that should be enough to pick up the KO under the Psychic terrain. You can calc easily to pick up a KO on a Marowak with a Life Orb Psychic, so I'm imagining the Choice Specs variant will be able to pick up the KO. We do hit the Will-O-Wisp onto the Muck, and we'll see if the Psychic can do the job against Marowak. Easily, yeah. So we get a critical hit, but I don't think it mattered too much there. And we do see a knockoff into the Tapu Lele. So we do lose our Choice Specs, which is a bit unfortunate, but we have got the burn onto the Muck. And the thing is, going into this next turn, we aren't locked into Psychic, so we do have the option if we want to switch moves. So let's see what my opponent brings in. Does bring in the Tapu Koko here. But to be honest, we're free to kind of go for another Psychic into that slot. So I'm very tempted to just go Tailwind with my Drifblim and just go for a Psychic into the Tapu Koko, to be honest. We'll see how we get on against that. Drifblim with the special attack boost should be able to take anything that Tapu Koko kind of throws at us. We have to be careful of the electric Z move in case that comes out from the Tapu Koko, but more importantly we get the Tailwind off with this Drifblim, so when the Garchomp comes in it will be outspeeding the Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko goes for a discharge, hitting everything on the field, showing its Life Orbs, and we do get the Psychic off, which should pick up the KO here, but no, just shy. But we do get a special defense drop, and we will lose our... No, we won't lose the Lele here. We might do to poison. It might just hang on though. So that's alright. That's alright. We do just manage to survive. So we will be able to get one final attack off with our Tapu Lele here. I think what I'm going to do is switch in my Garchomp for the Drifblim and go for a Dazzling Gleam with my Tapu Lele. We will be outspeeding the Tapu Koko now with our Lele, so we should be able to pick up the KO with Dazzling Gleam onto the Tapu Koko. And if the Tapu Koko does survive and goes for a discharge, then at least we're not going to be taking any damage from our Garchomp. Tapu Koko just goes for a Protect. We see a Shadow Sneak come out into Garchomp. So this will mean that we are able to get a Dazzling Gleam off and possibly. I don't know what the HP number is on my Lele. I don't know if we'll be able to survive another round of poison damage though. No, definitely not. Okay, so Tapu Lele goes down here. And we don't see a berry activating on that muck, so that's quite nice. So we can just clear the field with an earthquake here, which is pretty nice. So let's see what we can do. So with Garchomp, I think I'm just going to go straight for an earthquake, and I'm just going to Shadow Ball into the Tapu Koko slot, just in case my opponent switches that Tapu Koko out to try and stall out the Trick Room, bring something else in, to bring in at a later point to try and get some, I guess, some momentum. We see a Shadow Sneak into the Drifblim though from the muck, so we'll pick up the KO here, but regardless of that, we will get an Earthquake off before everything and take my opponent down to his last Pokemon. So we're sitting in a really nice position here. We've still got one turn of Tailwind left. We've still got the Z move on the Garchomp, and we still have, what have we got in the back? We still got one more Pokemon in the back as well. Oh, we've got the Ferromosa, of course. So, one of the biggest threats of the metagame we'll be able to bring in next to one of the other bigger threats of the metagame, and we'll see what my opponent has as his last Pokemon. And it is the Garchomp. So we're sitting in a really nice position here. I am just going to go for a double up Tectonic Rage into the Garchomp, and I'm going to go for an Ice Beam, which should be able to pick up the KO here. And even if this Garchomp is Scarf, we'll be outspeeding, and then if it survives somehow, it gets an attack off. But regardless of that, doesn't matter. So we pick up the KO nicely with the Ferromosa. So coming in at the last minute and picking up a little win for us. So nice way to start the episode, and we'll jump straight in to find our next opponent. If we have another quick match, we'll probably be able to get 3 games in. So hopefully, I do like the team a lot. That Drifblim is awesome. The supporter just offers you straight away with the Will-O-Wisp and the Tailwind. It just helps put you. And you saw how bulky it was, even in an electric terrain. It was able to take the Life Orb discharge from a Tapu Koko, which is pretty huge when it's a stabbed attack that you're weak to as well. So Drifblim really pulling through there, kind of really supporting the rest of the team and setting up those win conditions. So excellent. Definitely something I would like to try. And this kind of one of the reasons I picked this team to kind of showcase today. Had a few comments to showcase this team when I asked what teams I should be kind of showcasing, and the Geico tournament was brought up, and this team kind of just made sense. It won the tournament, and it has a lot of things on it that I'd like to try out that I just haven't got round to yet. So Drifblim being one of them, Magnezone another, and definitely that Ferromosa. So hopefully we get to feature the Magnezone at some point. I would definitely like to try it out. It is a bit of a different build from your standard Magnezone. I think Shoma was running max speed. I'm not sure if it was timid or not, but it does have the Electrum Z crystal, so to hit super hard with that Gigavolt Havoc. So we have our next opponent, Fire Gohan, and he is running a team of Arcanine, Scizor, Mandibuzz, Circuitry, Alolan Ninetales, and Tapu Fini. So, how are we going to approach this? I imagine my opponent will bring the Arcanine. Maybe lead it. Or maybe not. I don't know. We've got to be careful with the Mandibuzz, because the Mandibuzz puts a lot of pressure onto the Drifblim straight away. But I think if we can get a Tailwind up, we should be able to start kind of doing decent damage to things. So I am going to lead the Tapu Lele, the Drifblim. I am going to bring the Gyarados here, and what do I want to bring as my last Pokemon? The Magnezone might not be a bad shout, really. Because if we can get the Magnezone in... has it got Magnet Pull or has it got Sturdy? Let's have a look. So it has Sturdy, Flash Cannon, Magnet Rise, which is pretty nice. Or the Garchomp. I think the Magnezone. I think we'll bring the Magnezone here. I think that's what we'll do. We'll go for the Magnezone and see how we get on. And we can kind of bluff the Magnet Pull, possibly. If my opponent isn't aware of this team, which he might be, we could kind of bluff the Magnet Pull on the Magnezone to scare off that Scissor, at least. But because we haven't brought the Garchomp to this game, we're going to rely heavily on the Gyarados to be able to kind of deal with the Arcanine if my opponent does decide to bring it. So we see my opponent lead off with the Ninetales and the Xurkitree. So straight away putting a lot of pressure onto my Drifblim. But saying that, we will be able to outspeed everything. And I think what I'm going to do is prioritize getting a Tailwind up straight away. And I think I might go for a, rather than single target, I think I might just go Dazzling Gleam. So I can break the sash on the Ninetales and just start chipping away at that Xurkitree. Hopefully Drifblim doesn't go down here, but it probably will be doubled into with a Blizzard and a T-Bolt, I would imagine. Oh, we do see an Encore come out from the Ninetales, so very well played by my opponent here. And we are going to see a Z move from the Xurkitree. So is this Gigavolt Havoc? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. This must kill my Drifblim, even with the boost. Oh, it's into the Tapu Lele. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay, that is huge. So really well played there from my opponent. Xurkitree gets the beast boost, and now we're in a massive deficit here with Drifblim being locked into the Tailwind. We need to bring something in and start really taking big damage. I think I am going to bring in my Magnezone. Should I bring in my Magnezone or should I bring in the Gyarados? See, the Gyarados has Earthquake, but I don't know if it will be enough to actually take out the Xurkitree. So I might need to bring in... yeah, I'm going to bring in the Gyarados here because I need to switch out my Drifblim. So I'm going to have to switch the Drifblim out. If I switch my Drifblim out into my Magnezone, then I can protect my Gyarados this turn, then get my Drifblim, and then get the Magnezone in, and potentially get the Drifblim back in. I don't know. So I'm going to have to really maneuver the board position quite a bit here, but my opponent just playing this very well. So I will withdraw the Drifblim, bring in the Magnezone. And that big Gigavolt Havoc onto the Tapu Lele. Just really throwing the match off straight away. And the Encore as well. Obviously my opponent reading the Tailwind correctly there and getting that big Encore, which is kind of really forcing my hand now. So the Ninetales withdraws. We see the Arcanine come in. Okay. Does get an Intimidate off onto the Gyarados. And it is going to be putting pressure onto my Magnezone straight away. But we do have our own Gigavolt Havoc that we can kind of take advantage of as well. But the problem is with switching my Drifblim in at this point, it's going to be a bit of an issue because we are going to be giving the Xurkitree another beast boost. I'm going to go Gigavolt Havoc onto the Arcanine, and I think I have to go for a waterfall into the Xurkitree and go for the flinch really, and hopefully we can get the flinch here. That's my only play. I don't want to switch the Drifblim into the Xurkitree, into the Gyarados here, because it will just go down. At least we're doing this, we're getting some damage onto it, and there is always a potential of getting a lucky flinch. So hopefully this will be enough to take out the Arcanine. Hopefully it's not too defensively built, and we are able to kind of clear the field of it, because if we can, then it's going to put us in a better position going into the next few turns. Let's see. Moment. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we pick up the KO onto the Arcanine, which is nice. That's a good start. Circuitry doesn't get flinched, unfortunately, and it will get a T-Ball off and take my Gyarados out, which is a bit unfortunate. But we still have a Tailwind up, so we're not in the worst of positions. So we've got one more turn of Tailwind. So I will bring in my Drifblim now. I don't think that Circuitry is going to be in Flash Cannon range, so I could double into it now, but then there's always the chance that the Circuitry might just go for a Protect here to stall out that last turn of Tailwind. But I feel like I'm really forced, just with how well my opponent played that first turn, it's really kind of forcing my hand, and he's doing a very good job of kind of dismantling the team. And I'm not doing the best job of kind of... should I just go for a T-Bolt, really, into the Circuitry? Just going to resist the ball. Don't think it matters too much. I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon, and I'm just going to go for a Shadow Ball into the Circuitry. Hope it doesn't protect. If it doesn't protect, then we should be able to take it down. Ninetales protects, so I'd imagine the Circuitry will protect as well. Circuitry protects, yeah. So we're not in an ideal place now, because the Tailwind will end this turn, and that Circuitry is free to kind of pick up another KO onto the Drifblim. Not good at all. I don't think we got Protect on the Drifblim, which is a bit of an issue. So we'll just go for a Flash Cannon into it, and yeah, we don't really have many options, because a T-Bolt from that Circuitry, it is +2, we'll be able to pick up the KO onto the Drifblim. It's a bit unfortunate, so we'll take a big Blizzard first. That puts a Drifblim right in range. Circuitry goes for a T-Bolt and picks up the KO onto the Drifblim. And that critical hit really mattered there. So the Circuitry getting to +3, and I don't think this will be able to pick up the KO. I'll be surprised if it does. Oh, very close though. And the hill stops, so not the turn we wanted it to stop, and my opponent will take this game. So not the best showing from us, but I am not taking anything away from my opponent here, because he just played that very well. Like I said, that first turn, spotting that the Tailwind was going to come up there, encoring it with the Ninetales, kind of forcing me to switch out with the Drifblim, and by doing that as well, it's put me so far behind with gaining any momentum in the Tailwind that I really couldn't kind of come back from that first turn. So very well played to my opponent. My only real out there was getting the flinch on the Circuitry, but even then, if I had got the flinch on it, I don't think it would have made too much difference. Even in the latter parts of the game, we really would have been needing to KO the Circuitry at that point. So I don't think I kind of played it very straightforward there. So, and my opponent, knowing that, really took advantage of it and picked up the win. So good games to my opponent, and I think because that was another quick one, guys, we'll go straight into another game and hopefully have a bit of a better result this time. So hopefully it won't take too long to find an opponent again. But a little bit disappointed with that, because it's something that, you know, you can look at and think, yeah, I'm just making these plays. You're kind of not really thinking about, you know, We know Ninetales gets Encore, so you have to think of these things. Circuitry putting a lot of pressure on. We didn't bring the Garchomp there. It would have been hard to kind of maneuver it around with the Ninetales present, but you can obviously prioritise breaking the Sash and the Ninetales, getting the Garchomp into a Tailwind, and then start really taking control of the match that way. Pheromosa wouldn't have been a bad choice there as well, but you can. The thing is, with any match that you lose, you can always look back on it and be ifs and buts and things like that. The main thing is you kind of just got to pick up on what you did wrong and learn from that and take that into the next match. Not focus too much on how you lost that match, and beat yourself up about it and really kind of concentrate on that more. You kind of just got to keep looking forward and take the lessons you've learned from that match and take it into the next matches. And hopefully you don't make the same mistakes again, and that's what it's all about. There's no shame in losing a Pokemon match. It's all a learning experience and a learning curve. So that's all you got to do. That would be my kind of 2 cents on when you lose a match. It's all about improving, and that's all we do. We all strive to improve and look for opponents. So we couldn't find an opponent there, which is a bit disappointing. I wonder if I'm going to have to scan in the QR code again. If I do, guys, I will just chop this little bit of the video off, because I'm going to have to change screens, and hopefully the global link hasn't kicked me off. But because we haven't found an opponent, maybe it's kind of locked the team in still. No. So I will just be right back, guys, and I'll get the QR code up. Might not even need to. No, we might be able to just kind of. Can I? There we go. Okay, cool. So we're back. Yes. Yeah, like I'm saying, guys, just with losing and things like that, it's really important, and it's really kind of, it is an important part of kind of self improvement, to kind of go back, look at the mistakes you made in the match, and then just take that into your next games. Not thinking about it too much to the point where you're letting it affect your play and you're overthinking things, but just making sure that you're aware of certain situations that can happen in a similar situation when you're playing. Like, if you play that lead again, you know the sorts of things that can occur, but you just need to be aware of it and make decisions based on that, as well as everything else that you've got knowledge around those opposing Pokemon. That's all I'm saying. It's just kind of take those things into consideration and just learn from them. It's a bit easier said than done now sometimes. So we have our next opponent, and probably our final opponent of the episode, and they are running a team of Garchomp, Pheromosa, Mandibuzz, Tapu, Lele, Arcanine, and Magnezone. So we've got a few similar Pokemon to each other in here. He's opted for the Arcanine as his Intimidate user over the Gyarados, and the Mandibuzz over the Drifblim, but other than that, we look pretty similar. So how are we going to approach this then? I think. Right. I think my opponent would probably lead the Tapu Lele Mandibuzz here, I would imagine. Let's think what we can do, because that Mandibuzz is going to be a bit of an issue for us. So it does kind of force me to want to bring the Magnezone. It is heavily threatened though from the Pheromosa, Garchomp, and Arcanine though. That's the only thing. But outside of that, I don't really think we've got too much. And we missed the timeout, so let's see what happens. We've locked 3 in. If it's locked into the next Pokemon, I imagine it's probably Garchomp that we've got. So that's not the worst. That's not the worst Pokemon in the world. Totally missing the timer there, guys. Sorry about that. But we might be alright. If it's a Garchomp, I feel pretty comfortable with that. At least the Garchomp gives us a lot of answers against things like the Arcanine and stuff like that. So we should be alright. So my opponent leads off with the Tapu Lele and the Pheromosa, and we will lead off with our Tapu Lele and the Drifblim. So we do get the Psychic Terrain up before my opponent's Tapu Lele, I presume. But I don't know. I'm assuming that if we're the first one to get the field up, then we're the faster one. So I'm just going to go with that. I am going to get a Tailwind up while I can. Let's see what we've got in the back. Got the Garchomp. So we have got the Garchomp. So that's brilliant. To be honest here, because with Choice Scarf Specs, I'm almost tempted to bring in my, because I don't think my opponent will go for a high jump kick into the Tapu Lele slot. So I should be pretty safe bringing the Magnezone here, which then next turn will be able to start putting on a lot of pressure on my opponent's, both my opponent's Pokemon. So we do get the Tailwind up with the Drifblim, which is nice. Seeing Ice Beam come out from the Pheromosa onto the Drifblim, but we should be able to take this quite comfortably. And the Tapu Lele goes for a Psychic into the Drifblim as well, which does pick up the KO. But the most important thing is we've got that, we've got the Tailwind up. So that is the most important thing. I am going to bring in my Tapu Lele now. And what I'll do this turn is go for a Dazzling Gleam with my Tapu Lele. And I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon into the Pheromosa slot. So we'll go the Dazzling Gleam, and I'm only going for the Flash Cannon into that slot because in case that Pheromosa is sashed, at least doubling into it will be able to pick up the KO here. If it's not sashed, then the Flash Cannon will just move over onto my opponent's Pokemon on the other side of the field. So we get the Dazzling Gleam with our Tapu Lele. We do reveal that that Pheromosa is sashed, so we should be able to pick up the KO here with the Flash Cannon, which is nice. So we get rid of one threat. And now, so that Mandibuzz is heavily threatened by our Magnezone. And we'll see what my opponent brings in here. If he brings in the Tapu Lele maybe, oh, it is the Garchomp. So this is pretty nice because we can take advantage of this Magnet Rise with our Tapu Lele here, Magnezone here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for the Magnet Rise. That'll make us immune to any and all ground type attacks for 3 turns, which is super nice. And we should be outspeeding it because of the Tailwind here. We pick up the KO onto the Mandibuzz, which is super nice. And the Garchomp just survives there. So we get the Magnet Rise off with our Magnezone, which is super cool. And I really hope a Tectonic Rage is coming into that slot. But it is just an Earthquake. But our Magnezone will avoid it, because it is magic and it's able to float around on the field now, like it kind of does in its animation, which it should do anyway. But it would be broken if it had Levitate, wouldn't it? So we're sitting in a really nice position now. We've got one more turn of Tailwind left, and we're quite capable of easily picking up the KO onto the Garchomp. And so I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam, and I'm going to go for a Flash Cannon into the Tapu Lele, and that should be enough to kind of close the game out. So, and my opponent just forfeits. So, a little bit of redemption for that last loss, but we can't take anything away from that loss. It was just well played by my opponent, and I keep saying that. But guys, not a bad record, and not a bad way to finish this little episode. I've really enjoyed using this team. It's been super fun. Like I said at the start of the video, I will leave a link for the team in the description below. So if you guys want to jump on the Battle Spot ladder and try it out, make sure you're logged into your Global Link account, and then you can scan the QR code in and have a few games yourself. I would definitely recommend it. It is a super well-built team by an incredible player. And it's a lot of fun as well. So some really cool ideas in there, and it might kind of just spark some ideas for you guys going forward, building your own teams and stuff. So I will leave it there, guys. This is it for the weekend. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful time. Like I said, there is the Melbourne International going on over the weekend. So if you've got friends over there or there's favourite players or anything like that, go and check it out. I will leave it the description below, the link in the description below if I can find it before the episode goes live. But until next weekend, guys, you take care of yourselves, and I will see you on Monday with a brand new team on the School of Hard Knocks. Before I forget as well, I have to say this every episode. If you've enjoyed the episode, please leave a like. It is massively appreciated, just for me. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got some cool things coming up. I have a best of 3 with Joshua Lawsey on Sunday. I don't know when that'll be going up, but that'll be a lot of fun. So subscribe to the channel. You'll get the update for when that comes out. We'll be back with School of Hard Knocks on Monday, another QR code special. So we'll look for another team from the Invitational tournament like we played today to feature. I think I'd like to do that next week with all the episodes and pick a different team each day. And we will have, so that'll be it on Monday. But lots to look forward to. So guys, take care of yourselves. Have a nice weekend. And until then, I will see you later. So, bye-bye.